In October 2006, Rockstar Vancouver would release one of the best video games in history, aptly named Bully. The game promised to take the chaos scene in the Grand Theft Auto series and adapt it to the life of a teenage delinquent forced into a private school by his mother and stepfather. What followed was an incredibly relatable experience filled with drama, excitement, and some of the best open-world gameplay we have seen to date. In this video, I want to showcase some absolutely useless facts from what I consider to be one of the best video games of all time, Bully. Before and after its release, Bully was subject to several negative controversies. While Rockstar is and was no stranger to that type of attention, it was because of the company's past projects that Bully was flagged early on. Parents, politicians, and teachers would immediately throw up arms due to the title of the video game alone, which caused so much grief in PAL regions that it was ultimately changed to Canis Canem Edit, Latin for dog eat dog. The issues raised pre-release were mainly focused on what was perceived as Rockstar glorifying bullying throughout the game. It's important to note that most people who have played Bully see Jimmy Hopkins, the protagonist, more as a crusader against that behavior. Another notable incident came from everyone's favorite video game reviewer and politician, Jack Thompson, who filed a lawsuit to have the game blocked in stores in Florida, calling Bully a Columbine simulator. Thompson would heavily criticize the game due to the ability the player had to kiss boys, even going as far to write a letter to the ESRB stating, "Good luck with your teen rating now." Sexuality was a big point of contention regarding controversies that followed Bully, with Jimmy's rewards of kissing girls, which would boost the player's health, and going back to Jack Thompson's point of also being able to kiss boys. This, however, was a completely optional choice that could be made by the player, so it was untouched by Rockstar's censors. The company would later double down and defend the decision, stating there was nothing wrong with homosexuality. Some other notable things throughout the game that fed into these issues were a gym teacher who is said to be hitting on the students, dirty magazines being present, a panty raid mission, taking pictures of your classmate in the shower, and an adult store called Come Hither in town that Jimmy doesn't have access to. In Red Dead Redemption 2, during the side quest The Noblest of Men and a Woman, we meet Jim Boy Calloway. After dueling him, we can loot his revolver for our troubles. On the barrel of the gun, we can see the engraving Canis Canem Edit. This is Bulworth Academy's motto and, as mentioned before, the alternate title for Bully in PAL regions. Many players took this as a hint that Rockstar Games had started work on a sequel, and they were right. Bully 2 had been in production for some time, but was ultimately scrapped. Some leaked design documents made their way online, and it's all we have now as proof that the series may have come to light. In the shop class at Bulworth Academy, we can see some cars being worked on in the background. These vehicles are the Stallion and the Regina from the Grand Theft Auto series. We can also find a Yankee next to Blue Sky Shipping. This ties the universes of 3D GTA games and Bully together. Similar connections can be made with two students attending Bulworth, Lance and Vance, which is likely a reference to the character Lance Vance in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. There are references to other Rockstar titles as well, as sometimes we can hear townsfolk talking about a man named Starkweather, the surname of the main antagonist of Manhunt, Lionel Starkweather. Speaking of Manhunt, we can find a drawing of a cartoon pig labeled Piggy at the Happy Volts Asylum. This could be a reference to Pigsy, a horrifying serial killer from the series. During the events of Bully, the seasons will change as we progress through the story. During Halloween, we can find a few references that call back to a couple of movies. Jimmy's costume is the first that stands out. It's the same costume worn by Johnny Lawrence, the main antagonist of The Karate Kid.
Oh, where are you going, sweetheart? How about a front kick, Johnny?
Pete also wears a Halloween costume inspired by a classic film, dressed in the same pink bunny costume that Ralphie wears in A Christmas Story. During the mission Stronghold Assault, Jimmy will need a passcode to get through the gate leading to the observatory. The code is 1138. This is a reference to the first film George Lucas made, THX 1138. Lucas has hidden the string of numbers in every movie he has worked on to date. When roaming around the town of Bulworth, one of the places we can explore is Bulworth Gardens Park. While here, Jimmy can turn on the sprinklers. This doesn't affect gameplay, it's just a small detail Rockstar added to the game. The license plates that we can find on most cars in-game say BDR529. This is a reference to the Bluesmobile from the movie The Blues Brothers, which featured the same text on the vehicle's plates. During the English 2 class, we are faced with using the letters F, G, H, I, S, and T to form words. One combination of these words will produce some offensive language, and if we submit it as an answer, Jimmy's teacher will have this to say.
I'm afraid I can't allow that.
At Bulworth Town Hall, we can find a clock that is forever stuck at 10:04. This is a reference to Back to the Future, where many of the plot points involve that time, and we see a clock tower showing the same. If Jimmy runs up to Melvin and knocks him out, he will say,
"It's only a flesh wound."
This is a reference to the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, who had a similar outlook during combat. If we start a fight with Trent and then hide from him, he will say the line,
"Jimmy Hopkins, come out and play."
Mr. Seymour will say a similar line if we manage to hide after attacking him.
"Come out to play."
This is a reference to the 1979 cult classic The Warriors, which Rockstar has also made a game in the universe of.
Warriors, come out to play. Warriors, come out to play. Warriors, come out to play. Warriors, come out to play.
In Old Bulworth Vale, we can find a store called Easy Drugs, the logo of which is designed to mimic the Rockstar symbol. While typical RX imagery is similar, it seems the devs wanted to use this opportunity to show some love to themselves. While in Blue Sky's Industrial Park, if we head close to Zoe's house, we can find a run-down, seemingly abandoned dwelling. Strangely enough, we can often hear someone laughing while running a chainsaw coming from inside.
Do unto others as others do unto others. That's not right. What are you doing here, rich boy?
During the mission Wrong Part of Town, Algie makes a reference to South Park after being bullied by the rest of the group.
So, Chad, honey, listen, it's just $100. That's nothing to a man of your means.
Oh, but Lola, I'd have to steal it off of my
But
father.
Lola, I thought that
Will
me
you
and
shut
you...
up, fatso?
Big bones, not fat.
I thought you liked...
Say, did any of you children see the alien spaceship last night?
Yeah, that boy saw it. Yeah, that was just a dream. And I'm not fat, I'm big bone.
If we head to the cemetery after 8 p.m. and stand close to the church, we can hear the preacher reading from his scripture in a pretty terrifying way.
Now I say to the rest of you in Zion here, to you who do not hold to her teaching and have not learned Satan's so-called deep secrets, I will not impose any other burden upon you.
If Jimmy kisses a girl and she starts to follow him, if we kiss another girl in front of her, the two will begin to fight over Jimmy.
I heard like 10 people made out here.
When using projectiles, Jimmy can score a one-hit KO on most opponents by aiming for the groin. This will bring them to their knees and incapacitate them instantly. If we go to the cafeteria at school, Jimmy can start a food fight by picking up the apples found on the tables and throwing them at his classmates. While wandering around Bulworth, we may see police. They will try to arrest Jimmy if he breaks the law around them. He isn't the only target though, as the police will attempt to stop other citizens around town. Interestingly, the license plates for police vehicles reads Bad Cop. While holding a football or a frisbee, Jimmy can aim at other students. Unlike other projectiles, this can start a game of catch between Jimmy and his classmates. If we shoot a rat and then pick it up, we can throw it at our classmates, prompting some unique reactions. Throughout the game, Jimmy's room will become more and more decorated with things related to quests and other collectibles. This is one of my favorite features in video games, and I always like seeing it with open world adventures. If Jimmy tries to use the vending machine without money, he will start to kick it. If we are persistent, this eventually will work and reward the player with a soda. If Jimmy gets in trouble at school, he will be forced into detention. During spring, summer, and fall, this involves mowing lawns. However, if we get in trouble during Chapter 3 while it's winter, Jimmy will have to shovel snow. Inside the Academy's library, we can find a globe. If Jimmy spins this globe, we can receive fun facts. If you stay up too late and explore Bulworth after dark, Jimmy will get closer and closer to his bedtime. At 2 a.m. sharp, he will pass out no matter where he is. If we do this outside, Jimmy will wake up without his shoes. There is a multiplayer component to Bully, which is minigames, like the classes we see at Bulworth Academy, where two players can compete against each other. The most interesting subject here is biology, where we can see some new creatures ready to be dissected, one of which is an alien, which is quite the sight to see in a normally grounded game like Bully.